We just heard why this campaign is an emergency and why we call on people to act now to build a global movement needed for the release of Iran's political prisoners. This is not a symbolic stand, but a concrete goal. Yesterday, PEN America issued a press release that said, and I quote, imprisoned Iranian poet, filmmaker, and recipient of the 2021 PEN Freedom to Write Award, Bakhtash Aptin, died in the Tehran hospital, succumbing to COVID-19. Our worst fears materialized as we mourn the utterly preventable death of Bakhtash Aptin. COVID is a natural killer, but Aptin's death was aided and abetted by the Iranian government every step of the way. Tehran's Evin prison was a perpetual super spreader, making his unjust imprisonment since September of last year an effective death sentence. Aptin was denied medical treatment, his comorbidities were ignored, and at times he was shackled to his bed. He was a true champion of free expression and a steadfast leader in the Iranian literary and human rights communities. When this brave role put a target on his back, he did not flinch or hide. We will remember Aptin as a gifted poet and filmmaker, but also a courageous thinker and an honorable advocate, end quote. Our campaign's emergency appeal is appropriately titled, "The lives of Iran's political prisoners hang in the balance. We must act now." It was printed as an ad in the summer edition of the New York Review of Books and provides needed political and moral clarity in this life and death struggle. The appeal has been signed by over 3,100 people, including Noam Chomsky, Gloria Steinem, Shireen Ebadi, Dan Ellsberg, Ariel Dorfman, Judith Butler, Jody Williams, and Raymond Latta. Our appeal sets a correct moral and political terms for freeing the prisoners with its powerful content and demands, its wide embrace of justice-seeking people, and the breadth and prominence of its many signers from 40 countries and every continent save Antarctica. It critically and uniquely calls on people in the US and globally to stand against the Iranian regime's brutal repression, while also opposing US threats or aggression on Iran. It has crossed borders and forged a community of people from all walks of life, fighting for Iran's political prisoners. A powerful expression of this was the demonstration at the Iranian embassy on January 16th in Bogota, Colombia. And also we received a solidarity statement from Colombia today that will be posted at our website, but unfortunately we were not able to include in the program today. You can learn more about this at the global movement page of freeiran'spoliticalprisoners.org. And let's spread this international spirit. Our emergency appeal says, quote, "The governments of the US and Iran act from their national interests. Our campaign, on the other hand, proceeds from the interests of humanity. We, the people of the US and Iran, along with the people of the world, have our shared interests as part of getting to a better world, to unite to defend the political prisoners of Iran. We also hold that people in the US have a special responsibility, given its history of intervention in Iran. That is, to unite very broadly against this vile repression by the Islamic Republic of Iran, and to actively oppose any war moves by the US government that would bring even more unbearable suffering to the people of Iran," end quote. You will hear more about this from all the speakers and solidarity statements today, not just the horrific repression, but also the fierce resistance in Iran. It is critical to understand why we say these political prisoners represent heroism for our time. What is happening in Iran is not only theocratic fanaticism by the IRI for 43 years, horrible as that is. The IRI has been hit with repeated massive and heroic uprisings by the Iranian people in 2017, in 2019, and again throughout 2021. The political prisoners represent the hope for a different future. We call on everyone to stand with them because they are frontline fighters in Iran who are standing up, and many of them looking for a different way for the world to be. Our emergency appeal points to another way forward in demanding the Islamic regime free all political prisoners now, and also to the US government, no threats or war moves against Iran, lift US sanctions. I want to share Ariel Dorfman's powerful words that he sent to our campaign that expresses his deep humanity, compassion, and sense of kinship with the Iranian people and the political prisoners. He said, good people, good-hearted people are constantly being bombarded with so many requests to sign petitions about important issues that it is natural that they should feel overwhelmed, asking themselves, what good will it do? Wondering how one signature can possibly make a difference. If I have signed on to the emergency campaign to free political prisoners in Iran, it is because I know that this initiative will effectively call attention to the situation of men and women in that country who, if enough pressure is brought to bear on its leaders, could tomorrow be liberated from the terrible conditions and extraordinary injustice. And even if those leaders do not listen, I am convinced from personal experience that the prisoners themselves are given strength to survive and persevere. They are listening. They know others far away care what happens to them, and we should not let them down, end quote, from Ariel Dorfman.